Hello, this is Tom Still from the Wisconsin Technology Council. Thank you for joining us for today's edition of WisBusiness.com, the show. The show is produced by the Tech Council in partnership with WisBusiness.com and with the help of our sponsors, the Wisconsin Economic Development Corp and Exact Sciences. Tom Still back with you from the Wisconsin Technology and WisBusiness.com, the show. Well, I want to talk a little bit about some recent and upcoming events. March 17th, we were in Milwaukee at AmFam Field for the annual Wisconsin Tech Summit. We featured 16 major firms there. We had nearly 50 emerging companies who took part in speed dates for strategic purposes. Think things like supply chain. Our attendees took part in 6 panel discussions. They heard the director of IT for the Brewers, Derek Hyde, and they attended a day-ending reception complete with golf simulators and Bernie Brewer, by the way. Coming up April 15th, how higher ed links to the economy in Western Wisconsin. We'll host a luncheon April 15th in Eau Claire featuring 5 leaders in regional higher education. We'll talk about how their respective campuses, both 4-year and 2-year, are helping to bolster the economy. And that will be held at Chippewa Valley Technical College and the Energy Education Center, 4000 Campus Road, and will include networking, lunch, and the program itself. April 22nd, we'll be back in Madison to talk about how medical research could be hit by National Institutes for Health funding cuts. A lot of things good have come out of medical research over time. And so we'll hear from Joe Handelsman, director of the Wisconsin Institute for Discovery, and a former White House science advisor, who will outline how these proposed cuts in the NIH could stymie some types of research on campuses and beyond. And that will be at One City Schools, 1707 West Broadway in Madison. This is a fairly new location for our luncheons. It's just off Madison's Beltline with free and accessible parking. So that will begin with registration at 11:30 and lunch at noon. Our Wisconsin Governor's Business Plan contest continues to move along. We had an initial field of more than 150 entries that entered on January 31st. That has since been narrowed to 25 finalists, most recently here in late March. We will have one more round of judging before the diligent dozen are selected to pitch at the Wisconsin Entrepreneurs Conference. Thanks to our 70-plus judges who have been really great about going through all of these plans. And thanks to our excellent sponsors, we already have more prizes in cash and services available than we had last year, and we would still welcome more. Be sure to mark your 2025 calendar for our major conferences. June 4th and 5th, our Wisconsin Entrepreneurs Conference will be held at Monona Terrace in Madison. November 4th, 5th, and 6th, the Wisconsin Early Stage Symposium will be at Monona Terrace, with the Wisconsin Innovation Awards taking place on night 1. And in all these cases, visit our website to learn more. As alluded to earlier, I write a weekly column focusing on news and developments that often touch on Wisconsin's tech-based economy. It appears in newspapers and various online platforms in Wisconsin and beyond. So recent examples have included topics such as tariffs, nuclear fusion, value of federal research to the Wisconsin economy. And so you can visit our website to see the kinds of things that we've covered this year so far. Our guest this week, John Neis from Venture Investors, LLC. Hi, this is Tom Still from the Tech Council, back with you for WisBusiness.com, the show. Our guest today, John Neis, Managing Partner, Venture Investors, really Wisconsin's oldest and largest venture firm at the end of the day. And he's also a member of our Tech Council Investor Hall of Fame. Welcome, John.
Hey, Tom, how you doing?
Doing well, sir. Well, I thought it would make sense just to talk a little bit about venture investors itself. History, fund size, funds over time, all those kinds of metrics that really identify who you are and what you do.
Sure. Well, we've been around since we made our first investments in December of '84. So little over 40 years now, just had the 40th anniversary of our first investment in December. And, initially we were more generalists, but we were really interested in things spinning out of the University of Wisconsin. Last several funds have been in the kind of 70, $80 million ballpark. But with syndication, we've raised a lot for our companies over time. We focus principally on Wisconsin and Michigan, but secondarily regionally. But we've done a couple deals outside, all with relationships that existed prior. We won't go chase a California deal unless there was some sort of relationship. And we do that in part to have the relationship so that when we want to put together a big round of financing for one of our companies in the tens of millions of dollars, we have the relationships necessary to pull together a meaningful syndicate.
Excellent, which actually brings me to my next question. I mean, you've been at this, you and your partners, for a long time. You've had a series of funds. You have developed those kinds of working relationships, not only here, but regionally and in many cases beyond. What does Wisconsin need right now to enhance its investment climate? What do you see from your really unique perch?
Well, the median sized venture capital fund nationally is $57 million. That's median. And of course, there's some that are $1 billion. You get outside the coasts and the median gets smaller. It gets down to 37 million. And I don't know exactly what our median is, but it's probably half that. And so we have a lot of very small funds, which all add to the ecosystem, all help, move things forward. But, the biggest ideas that the venture capital industry backs often need tens of millions of dollars. 50 million is not uncommon. 100 million is not uncommon. And so, a small $20 million fund or $10 million fund certainly can help get businesses going, but they're not in a position to pull together the large kind of syndicate necessary for the biggest ideas to advance. So, we're just one fund, and we can't do every deal, and we're just healthcare focused. And we really need more funds in this state, operating in this state, who, across the different sectors in which we play, who are above that median size and capable of putting together national syndicates.
And the Wisconsin Investment Fund is something that's started up with less than a year ago now. Should the Wisconsin legislature look at adding to that fund and requiring a match from outside investors, good sized investors like yourself and even larger, to bring more money into the state? In fact, that's the secret of actually why you wound up with an office in Ann Arbor.
Yeah, well, back in 2003, the state of Michigan passed legislation to create the Venture Michigan Fund. And it was, they ended up doing two fund of funds, 120 million and $95 million, specifically with the purpose of trying to, elevate Michigan in the way I described that we need to do in Wisconsin.
What it's meant for that state, I think, more companies, more jobs, more
Yes.
investment overall. It's been a success story.
Yeah.
So now we're heading into perhaps a little bit of an uncertain time with the economy overall. What kinds of deals do you see right now holding their value? And obviously, you're healthcare focused, but looking beyond that too, what do you see as being a place where investors like you and in other sectors might put their money?
Nothing is more predictable than healthcare. You look at demographics and the scale of the unmet needs, the aging population, and we just feel, opportunity will continue to exist there. I'd say other areas that are certainly in favor right now, AI, and I think Cryptocurrency, that's not my space. I don't get it. But, it's certainly one that is in favor right now. Clean tech, um, might be headed for a tough road right now, just because some of the shifts in policy priorities that are going to make that a little bit tougher. So, look, our industry always adapts. The money tends to always flow to where the opportunities are. And you do see some dramatic shifts over time in where the money goes and what's in and out of favor.
Yeah, absolutely. So thank you today, John Neis, for talking about your industry and shedding some light on some pieces that not everybody understands. And so we really appreciate your time. Thank you for
All right.
joining us.
Thanks, Tom. Always great to see you.
Thanks again to our sponsors, the Wisconsin Economic Development Corporation and Exact Sciences. We'll see you next time.